Welcome to Off the Post. I'm Russ Cohen. We're powered by Lights On Electric and Coverall Exteriors. We got Anthony Mingione. And how are you?
Doing all right, Russ. Looking forward. This should be an interesting afternoon of hockey down in South Philly today. So,
yeah. There's a good team coming in town, and we have Mike in Buffalo. Mike, how are you?
It's cold and snowy here in Buffalo. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
This is on me, people. This is what happens when you're writing too fast on social media, and all of a sudden you're like, "Why? What's going on here? Why isn't Mike mentioned?" Oh, that's why.
Just having a little fun this morning, and so
Indeed.
a team having fun now is the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're not talking about George Hainsworth in goal, but we are talking about Dennis Hildeby, and he is now the third goalie. And I guess my basic question is, Mike, there are two goalies with better numbers than Anthony Stolarz. What happens when he's back?
Well, in honor of Jeff Merrick, we should throw in Lauren Shabbat there, and in
I
honor
agree.
of me, Terry Sawchuk. Well, okay. I mean, it's a small sample size when it comes to Hildeby, but this is the thing that irks me till no end, is that Brad Treliving and Craig Berube, and we've talked about this. Craig Berube is hard on his goaltenders.
Yeah.
He leans on his goaltenders. In Philadelphia, it was Steve Mason, I believe.
Yeah, Mason and
in
Emery, I think it's
and Emery. St.
Yeah.
Louis, Jordan Binnington played, 55 to 60 games every year, and he was healthy enough, and there was no issues. But I think in the end, playing a goaltender that much is a detriment. So at the beginning of the year, Dennis Hildeby, who had a very good training camp, gets sent back down to the Toronto Marlies, and they claim Caden Primo on waivers. Why? I don't know. We've speculated, but we don't know for sure. But okay, but what they did was they only played Primo in the second of back-to-back games, which basically said, okay, we want Hildeby to develop with the Marlies and play plenty of times. We don't want him sitting on the bench and playing only 3 games. Well, here's a Bolton, folks. He could play more than 3 games. He's a good goaltender. I mean, they've let him play 2 years in the American Hockey League, and he had a good camp. So why the bleep, just to quote my tweet, why the bleep did the Leafs not decide to play Hildeby? Okay, so they make that mistake, and gee, what a shock. Stolarz gets injured because they played Stolarz 13 of the first 16 games. And
is that a lot?
Yeah, and he simply can't do that. So, okay, he gets hurt. Hildeby plays one game. We started one game against the LA Kings. The next game was in Chicago. Joseph Wall, who came back to the team in late October, had a less than 2 week ramp up physically, played parts of 2 AHL games. They throw him right in there, and he plays fantastic. But they play him 8 of 9 games and give Hildeby 1 start. The bullshit that Craig Berube said during the week, oh, we believe in the Beast. The Beast had a great training camp. Kiss my ass. It's ridiculous, because I'm sorry, if you believed in this guy, you would have played him more than 3 games, and you would not have allowed probably your best goalie, Joseph Wall, to get physically worn down by playing 8 games, 8 of 9 starts. So this is on you, Craig Berube. This is on you, Brad Treliving, for not reining in your coach or not making the decision to play the guy who was capable of playing. Let him play. And Russ, you're right. He played great last night. The reason they lost 2-1 to the Canadiens is because they can't score on the power play right now. They don't know what the hell's going on. They tried the 5-4 power play. That's an unmitigated disaster.
Marner.
No, I know, because their power play struggled last year.
I know.
I know. You're just.
I get a little Russ in me sometimes. What do you want?
Stab. Yeah, but no. I mean, Morgan Riley hasn't worked. Playing the 5-4 power play is atrocious. Now you've used Ekman Larson the last few games. That hasn't worked. I mean, something has got to work. What are they going to use? Simone Benoit? I don't know, but they have to find.
Where's Eric Gustafson when you need him?
Oh, it's funny, Russ, because I heard trade rumors regarding Eric Gustafson, but it wasn't to Toronto. Where was it? Oh, it's the Rangers. That's right. Quarterback. So there you go.
Back at you.
Yeah, because I guess with
Enjoy.
Adam Fox out,
Enjoy.
yeah, I guess with Adam Fox out, it's not outrageous.
It's not exactly a well-stocked market. Let's put
But,
it.
No.
but to end my rant, they get up. They won 3 straight on the road. That salvaged their season. They went 4-2 on the road. They played better defensively, but they relied a lot on their goaltending. Last night, you always know that coming back after a long road trip, you usually play a stinker. I don't think they played a stinker, but really they were having trouble generating offense. And Montreal, who's not a great defensive club, was shutting them down. And gee, we've had a Scott Lawton signing 3 goals in 3 straight games, and he's played really well. They have to thank him. And
a slap shot on the breakaway, too.
Because they were saying that he scored 4 goals in Philadelphia, and one of the goals was a slap shot from the slot.
One of his breakaway goals, I believe. I have to check on that, but one of them he was. But he's usually really, really, really good on breakaway.
Yeah, it was an exclamation point. But okay, so now if you look at the Eastern Conference standings, Russ, what a complete jumble of crap.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's why you don't get yourself. That's why you don't get yourself the way the standings are. You don't get yourself really too hung up. If you're the only team that can probably get themselves hung up right now is the Buffalo Sabres. They played one game more than everybody else, and they're further back in the standings.
But they played like crap for 6 weeks. And they're 3 points out of a wild card and 3 points out of third place. So
and Austin Matthews is happy enough. He's going to UFC matches whenever he can, and there's that too.
Entitled to do whatever he wants in his off time in his time off.
No, apparently that's his thing, though. I never knew that's like.
Oh, he's in the UFC. Oh,
he's really into UFC.
That's
I think
cool.
he was there with Joe Thornton. He was there with Joe Thornton.
Oh, that's cool. Jumbo Joe.
Jumbo Joe.
Jumbo Joe.
All right, so let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres. The one thing.
Hey, are we?
Mike hasn't coffee. Almost went out of his mouth.
Let me spread it out a little bit because then I'll be silent for the next.
I was going to say he's going to turn into Bill Hader before we speak.
Yeah,
right. Mike, you will never be silent. Let's just be real about that. But let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres, because there is one thing that we could say about them. They're consistently bad, and they're in last place, and they're going to be in last place.
No, I can't say they're consistently bad. They're consistently inconsistent, which is,
they're still in last place.
Oh yeah. Oh no doubt. And I'm not making excuses for them because they're a train wreck. But the problem here is that I don't know if anybody recognizes that they're a train wreck, or sometimes. I know
nobody in-house does. I can tell you that.
I know fans in Buffalo are like, "Do you see what's going on here, and are you going to do something about it?" And I don't know, because I haven't heard hide or hair of Kevin Adams being fired. We know Lindy Ruff is not being fired because he's in the last year of his contract, so they're not going to do that. There's no talk about trades right now. The funny thing is the chatter out there. I heard David Pagnotta and Jeff talking on their podcast a couple days ago. Tage Thompson's not being traded. Come on. Unless Tage Thompson has asked out, which he hasn't apparently, he's not getting traded. Neither is Rasmus Dahlin, at least not in season. Maybe after the year, and that's what Elliot.
They have to worry about Tuck first. Thompson's
right, and it's Tuck, and it's it
might be Byram too. Like I don't know how much.
Yeah,
how long he's going to be on the team.
Tuck, Byram, Luukkonen. If anybody wants him, but this goal.
I don't think there's much of a market for.
Well, I don't know about that, Russ. Simply because if Tristan Jarry is getting interest, then
he's having a better year. Like Luukkonen's not doing anything.
Right, but the issue, like and Elliot talked about this last night on his headline show, is that the team that's interested in Jarry is Edmonton, and Edmonton cannot trade for him right now because they can't make up the cap. They can't free up the cap room, and Dubas is not going to retain salary. Buffalo can retain salary, but it seems to be let's just say, organizational philosophy to not retain, and that's dumb because
you're in this era. It's dumb,
especially like, say for example, you're trading. You can't get Alex Tuck signed on an extension. You absolutely positively have to trade him before March the 6th, because if you let him go to if you let the season play out, he's going to walk. So you have to trade him. And okay, he's making less than $5 million. You retain 50% on him because you could get a lot more in assets on a less than $2.5 million player in Alex Tuck, who's a top 6 forward, than you can as a almost $5 million player. So that'll be what's interesting. But right now, I mean, like I said, they're a roller coaster. They win 2 games in a row. Everybody thinks, we found the magic formula. And then they lay an egg in Philadelphia and give up 3 goals in 59 seconds. And then they lose to Winnipeg, and Eric Comrie stones them blind. And that's probably the first time Eric Comrie ever stoned anybody blind.
No, that's not true.
No, I mean, he's just not a great goalie, Russ. I mean, he had a good game, but he's not a great goalie. But the problem here is now, there are no excuses. The only players that are injured right now are that Norris Trophy winner Michael Kesselring, Yuri Kulich, who's a good young player, but I mean,
Kulich is a loss.
And honestly, there has not been any news about his blood clotting issue, which is scary because it's about a month after. I asked Lindy Ruff in a availability, and he really had no information, or did they? Nobody was revealing anything. So him. Kulich, Kesselring, and Justin Danforth. Everybody else is back. Josh Norris is back. Dahlin is back from Sweden. Everybody's back, and they're still playing like they have their head up there. You know what? So I'm sorry. The injuries are give them another week or 2 to see if they straighten it out. But they're not straightening it out because this is the time of year, Russ, that they had that 13-game losing streak.
Yeah, and like I said, I was in that locker room after the loss to Philly, and, they definitely have leaders. Byram's a leader. Thompson's a leader. Like, they got up and said the truth.
But they're getting beaten down.
Oh, no, they are. Like, no, they didn't hide the fact that they're frustrated. Like, they did not hide that. And they're trying to have hope, but I think they're losing hope. And I think this is where the owner really needs to step in because, like, it's not just 15 years. You might be looking at another 5 years before you do anything, because if they have to trade some of these guys that you're talking about and they don't make the right trades, they're back to being like one of the 3 worst teams in the league, where they could have had an upward trajectory, and now maybe even that's going away.
Well, I joked with someone that this is sort of the secret plan, or not so secret plan, of them tanking for Gavin McKenna, since Pagula.
They're not even trying to tank. They're not.
No. I know, Russ. They're doing it naturally.
They're doing it naturally.
Like, this isn't on steroids. They're not in the Hall of Fame of tankers. No. But yeah, I mean, they have a really good chance. It's going to be them, Calgary, Nashville, St. Louis, maybe Vancouver. I mean, yeah, I think they're all at a certain point. What's the cutoff? Oh, is it 40 games? At 40 games, do these teams just say, okay, we're tanking for McKenna?
You can't this year because of the Olympics. You probably have to cut it off before that. The thing about it is, like, I go back to the bad challenge that they had against Philly. I go back to, I don't know why Lindy would be there even this year. Like, I just feel like they need monumental changes, and they need them all around. They need it, some in the locker room. They need some in the coaching staff. Like, this isn't a quick fix for them, because they see when they play, Mike, and you watch them more than I do, but when they play, they don't seem to be terribly organized. They seem to be playing with just whatever talent they have. Right. And they can score goals, but they have no way of preventing goals.
No, and they have unfortunately the same type of defenseman. I mean, Connor Timmins has played better than I expected him to, because he's actually been on the ice, and we know Connor Timmins his durability issues throughout his career. He's sort of like the right type of defenseman to play as a complement to the Byrams or the Powers or the Dahlins, but he's playing in their top 4 right now. They're playing Jacob Bryson regularly because Kesselring has been out. So
I like Bryson. He could fill.
Yeah. I mean, no, but the problem is that they made a concerted effort, and it was a big thing for Lindy. We know Lindy is an aficionado of the left-right, and you were playing Dahlin with Samuelson against Philadelphia. I think they played Byram because they were behind. But you're playing two lefties, you're playing another pair with two lefties, and then you're playing Timmins is your only righty. And I think that's still a factor with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of many. So the Philadelphia Flyers is going to take on the Colorado Avalanche. We don't really know who's going to be in net for the Avalanche. I'm guessing it's Blackwood because I don't think Wedgwood's healthy enough. He has a bad back.
I'm leaning towards that. I guess we'll find out shortly with the and everything this morning. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It was already going to be a tough hill to climb, I think, for the Flyers. And then when you add Cam York, we don't know yet.
Right.
But the odds are probably he's not playing. I mean, the pairs were, I believe, Sealer was paired up with Sanheim,
and they called up Ty Murchison.
Murchison got called up, but I believe that's an emergency. That's just as a seventh defenseman. That to me is just an indication that high likelihood that we won't see York play this game. It was only listed by Hot Tocket as being a slight option, which I don't know even why. Even if you don't think he's going to play, then
just
don't go with it. But it's a tough matchup regardless, and obviously, the Avalanche had their point streak snapped at 17 by the Islanders earlier in the week, but then obviously they rebounded with a win against.
But they're going 3 out of 4, and you never know what could happen.
It's 3 out of 4, so that's one of the reasons why I think the Flyers think they have a puncher's chance, especially when well rested.
Yeah.
So that I think could potentially work in Philadelphia's favor in this game. Lineups are obviously what they are at the moment. I don't see them being too much of a change. I want to see a little more out of Nikita Gromykin, playing now on a scoring line. This is, he's getting a golden opportunity with Tyson Forster being out. So
I'd like to see a few more minutes for him too.
I want to see a few more minutes for him on that, playing on those on a top 6 line. That to me is one of the areas, certainly the focal point for me. I want to see obviously with Forster being out, I want to see a bit, continue to see more out of Owen Tippett. I think his speed is the one thing in this game that can because the Avs obviously skate like the wind. The Flyers aren't a bad skating team. That's the one thing I will say about them.
They're actually a better skating team than they have been.
But you don't have York.
But do they play at speed? No, they don't play at speed.
It depends on the circumstance, but yes.
Well, bringing the puck, offensive zone entries, bringing the puck up the ice. Last game, there was a sequence where it took 5 guys to get the puck up the ice. And that's what I mean about playing that speed.
Yeah, in terms of playing as a unit fast. I'm talking about individual aspects of it. So I think, I would favor, it's again, 3 out of 4, they could potentially, if they are.
They could start off slow.
The Avs could start off slow, and that's where Philly really has to kind of press their advantage, I think, more than anything. I'm sure I haven't heard goaltender yet, but obviously, Urson played the last game.
Right,
so
it'll be Vladar.
Vladar is the likely starter for Philadelphia. But yeah, it's a fun. It's always fun to see. Just from my own perspective. I mean, obviously I cover the Flyers, but to see teams like the Avs and to see Vegas coming in and you see it on TV, but to get eyeballs on how they execute their systems, how they work on the ice, to see it on a wider scale, to me is no matter you want an entertaining game, but I also want to add to that, database of, not just the numbers, but seeing how they execute. And that's something I'm looking forward to today.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with McKinnon. Like I went and sought him out. I covered him in the queue. It was on a road game. His team lost. They threw garbage on the ice. And a 17-year-old McKinnon, I asked him about that. He goes, "Oh, yeah, that happens all the time in this league." So this guy doesn't care about pressure. Yeah. This guy doesn't care about booing crowds. Like, he just doesn't care.
Randy had a question in the chat here. He stated whether he thinks the Flyers will trade for a center now.
Well, you can start off with that. Go ahead.
I'll look at that, Randy. I'm going to say at the moment, no, because I think at the moment, I don't see it happening yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen at some point. I just don't know if it's going to happen. If it's something that's going to happen immediately, and who the candidates are out there too.
Well, we know, first of all, we know it's Randy because he spelled center the wrong way.
Leave the Canadian alone.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a pseudo Canadian. I live 9 miles from the border. But I mean, honestly, the center market is Nazem Kadri, Ryan O'Reilly. And then what else? I mean,
I would add Casey Middlestat. I would add.
Well, yeah, I mean that's sort of like the second level. I mean,
I know.
Right. You're talking about, I mean, Casey Middlestat will now be would then be on his fourth team in 3 years.
Yeah.
But, beggars can't be choosers if you're looking for center help. But
I'll tell you who isn't going to be on like his fourth team in 3 years, Morgan Geekie, with the way he's scoring.
Oh, Jesus. Well, yeah. I mean, okay. Anybody who believes that the Boston Bruins have some sort of like voodoo or something, they pluck Morgan Geekie from Seattle as a restricted. He was not qualified by
Seattle. They just let him go. They were like, "Yeah, we don't need you."
And the funny thing was, I heard the backstory because I really didn't know much about him. I knew the name, but he was drafted by Ron Francis in Carolina. Yeah. Then Ron Francis goes to Seattle and he brings him to Seattle. And then basically he loses patience with them and thinks, okay, nothing's ever happening.
He was always a super skillsy, toolsy, talented guy. Always was.
Yeah. Right. So then they don't qualify him and he signs with Boston and then he starts scoring. He scores 17 goals and he scores almost 30 goals and now he's on a 40-goal pay. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, but that can happen. We've seen it happen many a time where
he always had like this kind of talent. It just never clicked. But Ant, the other thing is, while we're talking about possibly trading for a center, Danny Briere's had to fend off rumors that they're not interested in trading Owen Tippett, and they seem to believe in this upside. I got to tell you something.
I think right now, that's how I view.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Yeah, I don't believe in the upside the way Danny's talking about it. Now, maybe you're right.
I think he talks it up because again, he's trying to increase the potential. I think over the long. I think if Tyson Forster's healthy, I do wonder a bit more about this conversation. But because they are in the current predicament that they're in for 2 to 3 months, if you're going to, I just at the moment. But again, that's the difference of a window between acquiring a Quinn Hughes or somebody like that. Well, it gets rather interesting in that regard.
Well, let me ask this about the Flyers because we talked about Jari and the Oilers and with their problem, it's cap space, but it's also assets. So okay, in that thing, it's like who does Edmonton give to Pittsburgh to get Jari, because apparently they don't want to trade Skinner. So you've got like 2 assets that you could probably trade, Savoy or Isaac Howard. Okay. In the case of Philadelphia, if you're trading for Kadri, if you're trading for O'Reilly, are you giving up Jetlachenko? Are you giving up?
No. Those are not the kind of players. Again, I don't think Philadelphia's going after those kind of players.
It's just not the guy that they're looking for at the stage of his career. But O'Reilly,
they're specific. I think they are looking for They are looking for, and it narrows obviously things down for them. But they are looking at the situation as, hey, it's great that we're where we are right now. But I don't think you necessarily lose sight of where you are truly overall in regards to your developmental cycle.
I mean,
if you're going out to trade for someone, it's a Kadri doesn't. I don't think a Kadri fits.
Well, if Tage Thompson were available, then Briere would have to give up a Martone or
absolutely one of those guys.
Yeah, but I don't. But Philadelphia has no intention of trading off a Porter Martone. So I don't think
Martone, but it would be Luchenko. He'd be in the deal.
I think that would be a possibility there because again, Tage fit. How old's Tage now?
27,
26, 27. If you're in that age range, you're fine. You're probably in that case, you're getting a player in the prime of his career. I think those are the kind of players. We're talking about anybody who's north of 30. And dealing and including Luchenko in a trade, that would basically mean the Flyers are signaling a complete paradigm change for themselves.
Right.
They can win now, or to truly win now. And you got Kadri making whatever he's making, almost $7 million over the next. That's not.
Kadri plays okay. I watched him last
night. It's just not. It doesn't fit.
Well,
a long-term plan.
The thing that makes played better than the Mammoth last night, so good for them. But Kadri didn't impress me, honestly.
The thing that makes Thompson attractive is the fact that he's 28, like I said. He's got 4 more years at $7.1 million. That's not for a guy who's a number 1 center quality. That's not
an elite. And again, the size skill combo. That's the thing. Philadelphia is still not, in terms of their lineup, it's not they they still are smaller in areas of their lineup, and especially at the at the center position, or forwards overall. I mean, when you lose a Tyson Forster who's got good size, that's going to make things a little bit tougher for you. So again, Thompson, it's possible. What else might be out there? Again, we're going to see, Briere's going to obviously hard negotiate here. If they're going after, again, if we get back and we're talking about a Hughes, now obviously last night, it's interesting how the Flyers got mentioned in conversation, and immediately the conversation with New Jersey and Vancouver suddenly seems to have ramped up again, which again tells me that in some ways, I mean, Philly, I think, is certainly in it for Hughes, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think
I feel like they're also being used to extract as much possible out of New Jersey as Rutherford can.
Just like Detroit is being used.
Oh,
yeah, they're basically, hey, come on, New Jersey, step up.
He's going nowhere but New Jersey. Like Luke Hughes.
They're all plausible. Again, it's the old story. It's plausible. These are all plausible scenarios, and it's easy to connect the dots, obviously, with Tocchet. And it's easy to connect the dots with the Hughes' family relationship, obviously, in Michigan. So all those things obviously are plausible and have to be taken seriously if you are Tom Fitzgerald, if you're thinking that it's just us and that's it.
Yeah.
Luke Hughes isn't playing the right side now, so they cannot trade for his brother. Like the talk was a week ago, well, you can't have Quinn and Luke playing together because they're both lefties. Well, now you can.
Well, Randy also has another interesting thing here. He said, is Shane Wright possible?
I don't think so.
I don't think Seattle's looking to move Wright.
No.
If they are, Philly, he should be somebody that the Flyers would consider.
Apparently, over the last few weeks, Wright's ice time has decreased significantly. Pinata was talking about him as a possibility, as being, because remember, Seattle, we will be talking a lot about Seattle before March the 6th, because they have so many pending unrestricted free agents that if they drop out of it, you're going to hear
there'll be a sale.
Alexiak, Marchment, I think Jaden Schwartz. I mean, they're
in first place for like a day 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, that tells you how close things are and what happens when true talent obviously rises. So
honestly,
trust me, Randy, if Seattle is putting Shane Wright on the table, I'm on the horn.
Yeah, they're not in a position where they should trade Shane Wright. Like honestly, some of those other guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure, the veterans. He should be considered to be a core guy for them going forward. Right. And you're selling off the older players of your lineup, so you can truly set yourself up for the next few.
Yeah, that's what I think they're going to now. And Randy's saying Rasmus Anderson would be perfect for the Rangers. Yeah, sure, but I mean, again, they're not loaded with assets to the point where they're necessarily going to have what Calgary's looking for. Like, I don't know. I know Calgary's talking to Anderson. Like he said, he would stay now. So I don't know if he's doing that to maximize his years and salary. I mean, he played great last night. Like Anderson could really still play, and so a lot of teams are going to want him.
He could. Okay, the only place he could get 8 years is Calgary.
Right.
The talk is right now, and it's of course, it's Dallas and it's Vegas.
Dallas has assets. Vegas doesn't have as many.
Yeah. Dallas has assets, and with the injury to Sagan, they didn't put him on season-ending long-term IR, but the talk is they might. They have that option, and if they do, that opens up $9 million in cap space. Now, in terms of Anderson, he's locked up for this year, so that's not a big concern. But allocating that going forward, I think Sagan's got one more year. They really have to. It could be a sign and trade. He could sign an 8-year deal and then get traded to Dallas and spread the AAV out. It depends on what they're willing to give up. Are they going to give up Maverick Bourque? Are they going to give up like somebody young? Are they going to give up like Essa Lindell or somebody like that? I mean, you have to create the cap space as well when you're signing him to a long-term deal. And Dallas has got Harley. They've got Heiskanen, and then you're going to be adding Anderson to it. I just have this weird feeling that Vegas is going to get him because they've talked about it so much. And a guy like Alexiak, who played in Dallas before, ends up going back there as a rental, something like that.
I can see that. I do want to answer Matt in the chat room because he's afraid, like, if the Red Wings don't get Hughes, they're going to turn it to Buffalo. They're not going to. They're on a better trajectory than Buffalo. They have a better goalie in John Gibson. They have some better defensemen in the sense that they all fit better, not that they're all better, more talented. And they have Lucas Raymond. Like they're going to be sort of okay. Will it be under Yzerman? I don't know. Because I understand the hesitation because they were looking like they're a playoff team, and now they're kind of like treading it like half the East is. But,
welcome to the East. All you gotta do is slip 1 or 2 games, and you're immediately back out of the playoff.
But here's the thing, and I'm playing crazy general manager here. If you're Yzerman and you're legitimately going after Hughes, and you need to know 100% for sure you can sign him. You know, right. I know it's July 1st that you can.
I think that holds up everything. That's the problem. Right. You got to know that he's going to sign you, and nobody. It's just as long as it's out there, you just.
I'm pretty sure he will not divulge that to Detroit if he gets traded to Detroit.
And from the Yzerman perspective, to trade the package that you would have to, and I said like Marco Kasper, Axel Sandin Pellikka, and a number 1,
or Nate Danielson too. You could have thrown Nate Danielson
for a 1.5 year guy. No way.
Russ. That's my point. If you know you're signing him for 8 years or 7 years, then I do the deal.
It's an interesting conversation because last game I was at, I had this conversation with a few team people, and it was a conversation of like maybe if you're looking at a year and a half, you might convince yourself that you could get Quinn to sign on in the offseason if he likes the direction. So maybe you consider and take that risk. I think it's a major risk though, based on the package that you're giving up. And there should be a cautionary tale of last season with Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah. Right. I think if you were a team that could win the cup by adding Quinn Hughes, and he thinks he can win a cup.
That's a different story.
That's might go there for a year and a half, and then see where he's
not likely happening. Philadelphia, not likely happening. Jersey of the 3 is the one that you could potentially say yes, that could happen if they add Hughes and get
if you stick out west, then the names that I mentioned for Rasmus Anderson, wouldn't you rather have Quinn Hughes for a year and a half than a rental for Rasmus
Depending
Anderson?
on who you are. Like, if you think you could win the cup, then maybe. But again, these other teams, he's not going to re-sign with you. He's not going to re-sign. If the Flyers were to trade for him, he's not re-signing there. If they were trading Detroit, he's not re-signing there. He wants to play with his brothers. They're going to make it happen. It's just maybe they can't make it happen.
They're just trying to squeeze every last possible thing out of Jersey before making the move. That's what I've been convinced by, and it would be honestly, if Quinn Hughes, I'll say it now, if Quinn Hughes gets traded anywhere else other than New Jersey, I know this is not going out on a limb, but since we're continuing to throw Philly and Detroit and other teams into the mix, if it happens, I'm sorry. To me, it just feels like what it is, which is just Jim Rutherford squeezing every little drop of juice out of the orange.
I think that's what they're doing. So last thing, Ron Hainsey came out and spoke about the Olympics, our favorite subject on this show. And he's like, listen, player safety is paramount. Like, they're not sending guys if they don't think the ice is good. And they're testing the ice in like early to mid-January. It's a big deal because they pointed out on Hockey Night in Canada, they're playing something like, I don't know, what was it? Like,
it was five games in the first 2 days.
That's it. 5 games in 2 days. So just testing the ice to see if you can get through one game is one thing. But for that, that's testing any ice surface.
It's testing everybody's patience is what it's doing.
It really is. I'm really in worry now. I know Bill Guerin, there's an article on Sportsology, Matt Blittner, reporter for me, spoke to Bill Guerin. He's not worried about it, but there's an article up on Sportsology. He spoke about the Olympics. We got him. All that said, I'm still worried about it. Like, more worried than I was even a year ago.
They can slough off the concern about this when somebody, and believe me, I'm hoping this does not happen. When somebody blows out their ACL because of bad ice, then people are going to be pissing and moaning. It happened with Tavares with a broken leg at Sochi, and the ice conditions was not the problem, but that derailed the Islanders season in 2014.
Okay.
Now, these players want to go, and I understand that they want to go. And basically, like, they're saying, we'll play anywhere. You know what? The problem is you can't exactly play these games like say, oh, we can just play.
They'll play anywhere, and then they get into then they get into the circumstance, and they'll be the first ones to complain about it.
Right, and you can't play a TD Garden or something like that. Then do the Four Nations because those buildings have been booked. So either you book some arena in Switzerland, or you have to make this work. But
my prediction is that it's going to happen. They're going to play. They're going to get past all this, and they're going to play, and everybody's got to deal with the consequences.
I think it's a coin flip now. That's the way I feel.
I do, but I feel like when all this has been at this point, it's kind of like almost like daring. And until I actually see the league saying that and the players saying these are substandard conditions, we're not going to go. I'm under the assumption that they're going, Russ.
Oh, that's fair. And that's it. That's it for Off the Post. We'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.